She was very concerned that Nicole's purpose wasn't there to necessarily get items. She was more concerned possibly that Nicole might be trying to end Carol's life.
Well, this just took an interesting turn. If you're unaware, this is State Senator Nicole Mitchell of Minnesota, and she has been arrested back in 2024 for this.
Get on the ground. Hands behind your back.
She's been charged with burglary into her own stepmother's home. So now we're in the middle of this trial, and the state senator has finally taken the stand. So we're going to dig into her arguments and some other arguments in this video. Now, before we start the video, make sure to please like the video. It's the #1 way you guys are helping this channel, and it also helps others see the videos as well. And this has to be one of the most underreported stories in the United States right now about an elected official. People need to see what's happening in Minnesota. Here we go.
You had testified that Carol Mitchell expressed a belief at that time that Nicole Mitchell wanted to take her life. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay, so here's where things get interesting. This is about a burglary case. However, Carol Mitchell, the stepmother of Nicole Mitchell, the state senator, now the stepmother is saying she literally feared her life was in danger and that her life could have ended because of her stepdaughter, the state senator.
Couldn't figure out what it was that woke me.
Yep.
If it was a loud sound or if what. So I just... What was that? I stepped on and I stepped on a body, and it moved.
Yeah.
And I went, what the hell? And I jumped on like this and grabbed because I thought it was like a little kid.
Okay, if you're new here, you need to understand this is a very big deal. Because when we first saw the police footage of the state senator, we only assumed she was just caught in the basement and was dressed up as a robber, and she was trying to rob her stepmother's house. However, now we're finding out the state senator was quite literally laying down next to the stepmother in her own bedroom. And by the way, the most shocking thing about this entire story is that this state senator is still being paid, even though this all happened back in 2024 in April. And even if she's found guilty, she can still technically be a senator. It's actually up to the Minnesota state government on whether or not they just want to vote her out. And by the way, they might not vote her out. We'll talk about that later.
And then she shot out, ran out down the hall through the kitchen and down into the basement.
Okay.
In that area, in a dresser near where Nicole Mitchell was at, is where Roderick Mitchell's gun was kept. So Carol Mitchell speculated that possibly Nicole Mitchell was attempting to find that gun.
So the prosecution is just going all in on this state senator and really trying to prove to the jury there's no reason as to why this state senator should even be in that house at that time. However, now it's time for the defense to make their case.
Do you recall whether Carol Mitchell introduced you to Nicole Mitchell at that funeral?
No, I don't recall that.
Do you recall whether you and Nicole would have sort of, I don't know, exchanged a knowing look that maybe Carol didn't remember that the two of you had met before?
No, I don't recall that.
Mr. Keel, is it true that you and I haven't really had much contact with each other throughout this case?
No, we haven't.
Really, is it fair that the only contact we've had is maybe in the hall when I said when you may or may not testify?
Yes, that is correct.
And if you haven't already, make sure to please subscribe to my channel so I can give you guys more updates on this case as we continue through the trial. So if you're scratching your head and you have no idea what the point of this was, you're not the only one. The majority of comments on this video, everyone is questioning what was the point of any of this. I mean, even the defense lawyer is admitting we've hardly even talked, and I've talked to you maybe once in the hallway, and now you're standing in front of a jury to talk about this case.
Taking the stand in Becker County Court in her own defense against 2 felony charges, one of burglary and one of possession of burglary tools for an incident from April of last year.
But how would you summarize your relationship with Carol Mitchell pre-Alzheimer's?
I mean, she was one of my parents, and you know, my mom, especially when I was younger, was a single mom and working and dating, and like I eventually did, she had joined the Guard to help herself go back to school.
Well, I actually predicted this would happen in my previous video when we first started talking about this case, where the defense lawyer is going to try and convey an emotional experience and story with the jury. Basically, the defense team is trying to distinguish and separate the timeline of relationships, where the state senator had a healthy relationship before the Alzheimer's kicked in, and ever since that disease kicked in, this is when things started to go downhill.
You just told me about this today. We were already planning on coming the 29th. I find it disappointing it would be scheduled for a day that excluded Dad's only child and grandchildren, and I know he would be hurt we were excluded too. I guess I'm not sure who all these people are, whose schedules are more important than his child and grandchildren.
In the green is the state senator's text, and the white is the stepmother. Again, this is all trying to convey a point that there is friction in the relationship ever since the Alzheimer's kicked in.
Carol, I am so sorry. I am sorry, Nicole. You are not the only person with busy schedules. If you are really so concerned about being there for your father, you should be able to redo your own schedule. My heart is still breaking over the loss of the love of my life, and I do not appreciate your continued disdain of me.
Now, Jake Duesenberg on X made a pretty interesting point. He says, I'm not sure this makes Mitchell look good, the state senator, because it seems like it establishes a motive to break in and steal. I'm not sure the state will focus on this, and I was really thinking the same thing. I know we're trying to convey a point here that there's friction, but if you are so emotionally distressed, and we see these text messages have a clear divide, you know, an emotional divide, would that not drive somebody a little insane to do something like break into your own stepmother's home?
Did things change between you and your family and Carol Mitchell when your son Liam joined the family in about 2011?
Yeah, Carol was pretty meticulous and was always kind of just so. And so kids in her space was always, you know, and Liam came from a background with trauma, and
if you are waiting for some sort of response to the fact that you were dressed in all black, you were caught laying down next to the bed, what were you doing down in the basement? This defense team is simply laying out this really long-winded response and emotional journey of what exactly is going on between the relationship of the stepmother and the state senator. I mean, now we're talking about an adopted son here. And make sure to leave your comments down below about this defense team and argument. A lot of other people are saying you had all of this time with all of the trial delays to come up with an argument, and this is what the defense team comes up with?
It's true I'm not the only person with a busy schedule, but I am his only child. I do not have disdain for you. We have tried very hard to keep a relationship with you, but it is a two-way street. I can't imagine anyone cutting off someone's only child from something like this. He loved us too, and we're hurting and want to honor him too. This should have been something the two most important people in his life coordinated. not planned at a time you knew I was unavailable. He'd be very hurt you're treating us like this. Carol, I am treating you like this, and the cemetery called me and said the 19th was available, and being that it was the anniversary of the day he passed, I thought that was good. I think Rod would be disappointed you were still treating me with the same disdain you always have. You've never grown past it, Rod, and I talked about it many times through the years. He always apologized for it.
I've said this before in my previous video, and I want to make sure I'm clear. I'm not standing up for the state senator, I'm not defending her, but one thing the defense team is doing a really good job at, as far as putting this plan together and defense, the majority of adults in the United States, or really people in the United States, we have dealt with losing a lost one. And a lot of people, unfortunately, when you lose a lost one, especially a figurehead in the family, maybe it's a father, maybe it's a grandfather, but a figure that meant a lot to everyone, once you lose that person, how many of us have dealt with family separation, with family fights? And it looks like what we're seeing here is the defense is using the emotions and using the separation to convey a point that the state senator was simply inside of her stepmother's home to retrieve the things she wants back from her own father. And you can clearly see there used to be a healthy relationship, and now there's a bad relationship, because ever since the father has passed away and ever since the Alzheimer's kicked in, everything has gone downhill. Rather interesting from the defense team.
Ms. Muxfeld, since becoming power of attorney, do you feel like you've kept a close watch on Carol Mitchell?
Yes.
Okay. And are you aware of anything going on in her life on April 22nd, 2024 that would require an emergent break-in to her home?
No.
Nothing further.
However, that was the prosecution. It looks like they really took their time with this case. I mean, this all happened back in April of 2024, and even the power of attorney is straight up saying there was no urgent need to go into that house. So again, the defense team has quite an uphill battle to convey this case to the jury. Again, me and you, we don't matter. We can have whatever opinion we want. It's all up to the jury at the end of the day. And apparently, it's also up to the Minnesota state government.
However, details from the trial, whether she's found guilty or not guilty, are already politically damaging.
It'll be the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
She's already faced multiple Senate Ethics Committee hearings, and another one will happen after the trial. If she's found guilty of a felony, she would not be automatically expelled from the Senate. That would be up to the entire Senate to vote on.
34 Democrats versus 33 Republicans. It doesn't get any closer than that when it comes to the Minnesota State Senate. And of course, this state senator is a Democrat. So the consequences of her being charged and convicted as far as the burglary charges, that's one thing. But then the state Senate will have to figure out, are we about to turn on our colleague? That is going to be another story for another time, which is why you need to make sure to please subscribe to my channel, because without a doubt, there's going to be quite a lot of controversy if they don't vote her out and she is found guilty. That's going to be a massive story. So make sure to please subscribe, because I will be keeping tabs on that.
So yes, Dad would be horrified. You've excluded us again and again. Her, OMG, it's amazing to see how different we see the past. But I suppose most people do this. Have you ever sent me a birthday card? We only have Rod for connection, and now he's gone. I guess there's nothing left. I love that wonderful man more than anything in the world. I would not let go of it, but I do not have to continue to live with your personal judgment. I will hold on to the love. What I can do is let you know when the gravestone is set up. I'll mail you the bobber. You can set up your own viewing if you like and invite your relatives. My relatives and friends will be with me on the 19th.
That to me is going to be the best defense the defense team has. In a text message, the stepmother did say, "I will let you know about the ashes." However, the stepmother can say one thing, it doesn't mean she has to do it, legally speaking. And we can talk about the morality of that, but that has nothing to do with the legality of things as far as the court of law. So let me know how you guys feel about all of this. I mean, this case is quite a roller coaster of events. Let me know how you feel about the defense team and what they have to say. Again, I understand what they're trying to do. I understand that they're trying to convey the emotional response of losing a lost one. And now, due to the terrible thing of Alzheimer's, and I'll agree it's a terrible disease, all of a sudden she's turned. She has turned on her stepdaughter. But the question everyone has, to include the prosecution, why were you in that house?
I know I did something bad. Those were some of the many words of Senator Nicole Mitchell in the early morning hours of April 22nd, 2024, when detained by law enforcement. I ask that you specifically remember those words throughout this trial.
And again, this is all on the record. This is not speculation. The state senator even said, "I know I did something bad." Think about any time you got caught and you think in your head, this is not good, but you accidentally said it out loud. That could be seen as an admission of guilt, according to the prosecution, and probably to a lot of people who are watching this case. Anyway, I hope I was able to convey a fair perspective of what's going on here. I'm not here to tell you who's right and who's wrong. I'm just trying to show you guys these are the arguments from both sides. Thank you guys so much for being here. I really do appreciate all of you. Make sure to please subscribe so I can give you guys more updates on this case. Make sure to please like the video. Thank you. God bless, and we'll see you all later.